Okay, so your next step is to use the grid or the golden mean. Both of these are going to be guides to determining how big and placement of your objects in your photo illustration. So let's take a look at a self-portrait. So how big should I make my self-portrait? Let's start with our grid. I downloaded my grid, and I've simply opened it up, and I'm going to drag my grid. If you get something that says paste profile mismatch, go ahead and just hit OK. And you will need to resize and probably rotate the grid or the golden mean to the orientation of your individual design. And I'm going to bring it all the way up to the top layer. And I'm going to use my different blending tools just so I can see. All right. So the grid really gives you the key intersection points. These are where you want the images to bisect. You also want to think about where the eyes are in your profile of yourself. And they should hit the top line. This is known as the rule of thirds. So you can see 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take my self-portrait that I have here and make sure I get all the layers that contain my self-portrait. And I'm going to move them over. So I'm right there. I'm taking up 2/3 of the image now, which is perfect because, again, that's the rule of thirds. Notice here how my images move and at least one of them crosses the sweet spot right there. Not everything has to fall on the line, but you do want to have a relationship between the objects and where there are what I'm going to call the sweet spots. This way you don't wind up making a picture where you're too small or where you have an unbalance in your design. Now if you look at it, it is perfectly balanced. So about 1/3 here, 1/3, and then I have 2/3 here with my eye focusing right on the sweet spot. So now I have a good placement. Now if I was to use the golden mean, again, we'll put that in there. Move that up. Okay. So again, Control T, because these are rather large. This one I don't have to change the orientation. But I am going to flip it. And again, I'm going to go to my blends just so I can see. And again, the grid and the 2/3, they're going to match up pretty closely. Notice here, I have my face. Now, how do I use a golden mean? I want to make sure that my objects stay within my box. I'm going to make this box bigger because really it goes to where the red lines are. So let's resize that just real quickly. Okay. And we are, by nature, pretty proportional when it comes to the golden means, which means that one size gets doubled each time. And so it enlarges. The only difference I want to think about in this picture with myself, and remember, all these placements, is I'm going to get myself in the golden mean over here. Maybe I'm going to make myself, that's a really big picture. So we can see I'm going to get the head to go into the top part of my golden mean. So this one might require a little bit more of myself. And then here's my actions following the curve. As long as I have some of the objects hitting there, I have a really great purpose. Now you notice that in this one I had to make myself a little smaller, but added more that you could see. So the placement is slightly different than the 2/3. Either one is fine. They both give a harmonic and pleasing view to the design, just to kind of let you see I put two on top of each other. So this is the golden mean, and the other. Next I want to talk to you about texture. Okay. And some things that we might want to do with texture. All right. All right. So in one of them I thought feathers. You don't have to use the whole picture. So I'm just going to make a small copy. I made a section with my marquee. I'm going to copy that section. Now I'm going to go over to my self-portrait and I'm going to paste it and use the Control T. And then let's blend that texture now in. Interesting. I can even rotate that texture. I'm going to make it even larger. Another great thing you can do is you can take texture. I'm going to take an image and I'm going to go to the adjustments and I want to get rid of the color. So I'm going to desaturate. Now I'm just going to pick again part of it. I'm going to copy it. Go into the self more. I'm going to paste it. If you get that dialog, don't worry. Now I have some wood and really like that. It's really popping out the background. And as you can see as I go through several of the different blending options, I really like the kick out of this. So it must be. Alright, let's see. I'm not sure which one I want now. Alright, I really like the color dodge. And then lastly, I have one that is of metal. So let's move that one down as well. And I'm going to go to hard light. I really like the linear light. There we go. You can change the opacity if you want to bring it down. So now I've really taken the background and I've infused it with some texture. So those are your two big things to do today after you've cut out your image, is to reorient yourself using the grid or using the golden mean, as well as adding a texture to your image in the background.